Good morning, my beloveds. Good morning. Wow, I was feeling this energy as we begin today with the spirit of just being here, just getting here, right? So this month we formed a capsule of vulnerability around ourselves. And this week are surrounding ourselves with vulnerability as power and possibility, both with a capital P. Vulnerability as a gateway to power and possibility, calling us to be who we are as we create space for others to do the same and hold on for the exciting adventure of transformation. So as we get excited, we allow this energy to just bubble up. We feel the vibration throughout our body as we now just get quiet and become still. In this stillness, we begin our meditation by focusing our attention on our wholeness. A wholeness in our entire being, from head to toe. Let us now place our attention on our entire day. What does it look like? What does it sound like? For this is the day, the only day. Let's start with this morning, when we opened up our eyes. And we open up our hearts. Oh, yes. The possibility of a brand new day. A new, spanking new beginning. Let us now take a moment to review our plans for this glorious day. Where are we going? What are we going to do? Let's envision this day, knowing that we have the power to create who we want to be today and how we want to see others. Think about where you need to be and who you need to be with. Sense your comfort level with these thoughts. Start to envision all these people everyone in your life. Let's begin by seeing all these beings in our lives as true expressions of God. Now let us see a world in which every person is already living in alignment with their highest spiritual principle. Emphasizing unity with God and connection with us and each other. Forming a magnificent circle of love. Feel yourself being called to a higher state of consciousness and action. Feel your mind, spirit, and body connecting with each and every one you meet today. Feel yourself embraced by the soft wind of love and possibility with everyone you come in contact with. A joyous connection. Listen closely. Look in their eyes. Hear that voice of possibility. Take a moment to smell. Oh, yes, that smell of the fragrance of this connection to your own life. That power within you. The power that is everywhere present. The fragrance of a newborn baby. That experience of being alive. Yes, all is one. All is one at this moment in time. That full essence and feeling that all of life is connected. Connected to you. Like a breeze, a gentle breeze on your face. Or a bird gliding in the sky. As you find yourself dancing and rejoicing to the fullness of life all around you. Feel the pull of the power within. The deep sense of trust in your own strength. To stand tall. The courage to handle whatever weight is put on your shoulders. Let us take this moment to to gently whisper to ourselves, you've got tremendous strength. You've got tremendous strength. Feel these words vibrating through your body. Just like the blood is flowing through, we are filled with this love, strength, power, and possibility. Now let us take a moment to once again review our new day. Today, the one we have just created. This moment in which we have transformed and have been transformed into the glory, into the expansion, into the beauty of a brand new day. Let us feel it. Let us know. Let us feel this truth that sets us free, that allows us to grow, to be, to explore, to connect with every single thing and being around us. There is never, ever any separation. We live inside this presence. It is us and we are it. We shine in it. We are bright. We are the illumination of all that is. And that is where the Spirit of God lives in each and every moment of the day. So now, in this moment in which we have been transformed into a new reality of what could be, let us smile. Let us smile. Yes. Yes. Let us feel this joy in our hearts as we remember this quote from Ernest Holmes. We are to view ourselves, each in the other, and behold God in all. In everything, there is a season. There is a newness. There is a connection. There is a power. There is a possibility. So as we just allow ourselves to gently come back to this brand new day and open up our eyes, let us look around us and see each other. In the center of this connection of power and possibility. Enjoy your new day. Namaste. So now we are at the end of our meditation. You can take time to stay here or just go on and outside and reconnect with others, or just stay here and continue the journey to reconnect with yourself. Enjoy. See you at 10:30.
Good morning, everybody. I'm a little distracted. Hi, I'm Teresa. It's great to see you this morning. All right. I want to just say I see a lot of new faces here, and I want to welcome you and make sure that you feel really welcome with us. This is a wonderful, beautiful, spiritual community, and we are so glad that you are here. So thank you. We're going to start this morning off with a song from our Big Love Band.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, I know it's a little rainy and kind of gloomy out, but we're going to get your blood flowing, so stand up. We've got some very familiar songs, so you are required to sing and dance with us this morning.
Every day we're born again to create this world we live in. Now let us claim our good and speak our word and release it to the universe.
Hey, it's a new day.
Right here is where we make a stand.
Hey, it's a new day.
Compassion for our fellow man.
Hey,
Right
it's a
here
new day.
we're making a difference. It's a new day.
Hey, it's a new day.
All together hand in hand.
Hey, it's a new day.
Compassion for our fellow man.
Hey,
Right
it's a
now
new day.
we're making a difference. It's a new day. Every day I'm filled with wonder by the glory of the silent thunder unfolding from down under. And it's a wonder.
Hey, it's a new day.
Right here is where we make our stand.
Hey, it's a new day.
Compassion for our fellow man.
Hey,
Right
it's a
now
new day.
we're making a difference. It's a new day.
Hey, it's a new day.
All together hand in hand.
Hey, it's a new day.
Compassion for our fellow man. Right now we're making a difference. It's a new day. Every day we're born again to create this world we live in. Now let us claim our good and speak our word and release it to the universe.
Hey, it's a new day.
Right here is where we make our stand.
Hey, it's a new day.
Compassion for our fellow man. Right now we're making a difference. It's a new day.
It's a new day.
All together hand in hand.
It's a new day.
Compassion for our fellow man. Right now we're making a difference. It's a new day.
All right. Good morning. I love that song, and it is a new day. I want to say thank you to Adalia this morning, who she led our meditation this morning, and she just really got us into seeing the beauty of this new day, and that was really special. Thank you. So welcome. Ernest Holmes is the founder of our philosophy, and we teach the universal truths found in all spiritual teachings, both traditional and contemporary. And if you want to know more about what we practice, what we believe, please visit our website at cslcapecoral.org for more information. Also, we have a lot of events going on all the time, and you can look at our event calendar there. You can also submit a prayer request. If there's anything that is heavy on your heart, if you're going through anything that is a challenge and you want some extra prayer and support, or you're about to embark on a new adventure like we are, then it's a wonderful opportunity to submit a prayer request, and our practitioners will pray with you. Thank you. All right, and Adalia is also holding High Watch for us today. High Watch is just holding this service and all the people in it and all the people out there on the internet who are watching us, holding us in our highest and best good. And so thank you, Adalia, for holding High Watch today. All right, and now we have another song by the Big Love Band.
All right, one of my favorites. One of your favorites? Yeah? My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling. And there's deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness. And I practice it every day. Everyone has a story. Everyone has pain. When we strip away our mask, we find we really all the same. It's little things we say and do that can mean so much. It's a smile, a connection, a simple love and touch. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling. Lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Every day. Today I'm gonna ask myself, what more can I do to be a radiant child of God and let my love shine through? Gonna let my heart be my guide to give the best of me. Gonna share my joy, share my love, give it boundlessly. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling. Lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Every day. Oh, Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. And then Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came running after. She said, Jack, tell me, what can I do to help ease your mind? He said, hold my hand and just be kind. I know I'll be fine.
My religion is kindness.
My church is nature. My God is a feeling. Lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day.
Every day,
My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day.
every day.
Okay. All right. So, well, we're all still standing. This is a time where we get to welcome each other. All right. And so we have our welcoming message here, and if you can just go ahead and get those hands warmed up, get our energy flowing, and look someone near you into their eyes, and let us welcome each other. 'Cause you are welcome here. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. We know who you truly are. You are the spiritual image and likeness of God. We appreciate you, we love you, and we are thankful you are here. Welcome to the center. All right.
Let me walk to the banks of the river of love, where the current runs deep, baptized in the one, where there's no separation and the light is always seen. Honoring all our differences, love will set us free. the blessings of the past. It's time to requalify. Let's not forget, but learn to forgive. God knows we've gotta try. It's my responsibility to heal the wounds in me. Compassion, faith, and hope, and love, and truth will set us free. Oh Lord, Father God, there's a healing going on. Father God, there's a healing going on. Father God, oh, there's a healing going on. I said, oh, you rock my soul. I said, oh, you rock my soul. One more time, I said, Father God, there's a healing going on. Father God, there's a healing going on. Father God, oh, there's a healing going on. I said, oh, you rock my soul. I said, oh, you rock my soul. I said, oh, you rock my
Man, goosebumps. Oh, wow.
Yet.
Okay.
If we, our leadership council, which you're on the leadership council, if you would like to come up, whoever's here, I know we have Melissa and Cheryl long distance. Hi, Melissa and Cheryl. So I was saying congratulations and sudden, like, what a hole we had to fill. They just found out, Mark and Teresa are going to be moving to Colorado, like, abruptly. I think we get you for a couple more weeks. Mark, this is our last day here. But on behalf of the Leadership Council, we can't say thank you enough. The work that you've done, the up-leveling and the consciousness, and then the smarts that you bring to this all is immense. And God, we're going to miss you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I was not expecting that.
Thanks.
I want to say, being a part of the Leadership Council and also I'm on our financial committee has been, it's service, right? So it's a way to help support this center, but it also, oh my gosh, it's given me so much. The way that things are run in this community is we have this shared leadership model. And so everything that we do, we understand it together, we talk about it, and it's all done by consensus. And we doesn't mean that we always think the same or always agree on everything, but we come together. And so I want to just say, if you're looking for an opportunity to get involved, yes, it is some time, but I will guarantee you, you will get so much more back than you ever give. And so I really encourage you to, Chris used the term up level. We are a growing center. This community needs us. And for those of you, I know for those of us that have been here a while, we have seen how our lives have been completely transformed. For those of you who are new, just get ready. That's all I've got to say, right? Get ready. It is a place of love and support, a place where you can truly be yourself. And we have our new children's program. Right now, I'm going to say if you're all the kids, it's time you can go back with Miss Dawn and have just a wonderful morning with her. You know, the children's program is so important because we're bringing in younger folks, younger families, and it's another way that we're just really putting down roots in this community. So thank you. All right, and so now I get to introduce Linda Lloyd, who's one of our practitioners. Our practitioners are the prayer arm of our center. They are powerful, powerful beings. They learn how to see the divinity in each of us. They will be up here at the front of the stage after the service. If you have anything that is heavy on your heart or any new adventure or new thing that you're trying to get off the ground, come up, pray with them. You will get an injection of, the power of the divine, I promise you. And Linda, come on up. She's going to do our reading and our prayer for us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. So, my name is Linda Lloyd. I am one of the licensed practitioners here, and it is my honor and privilege to present to you today's reading. Our monthly theme is and has been the power of vulnerability. And I hope Teresa and Mark don't mind me mentioning, I've been in a class with them, and I know that this big move for them, that Mark was not real happy with his job. And they leaned into the power of possibility, and they were vulnerable. I remember Teresa saying, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be good, and it's going to be great. They leaned into prayer, they leaned into God, and look, they are such a beautiful example. So I just wanted to give a shout out to that. I hope you don't mind, and I'm so happy for you. I said this week's topic is vulnerability, power, and possibility, and I selected today's reading from our global themes, our notes from home office that they send out, because I found them very inspiring. And I just want to say, it's one of my very favorite things as a practitioner to share transformational ideas, and I just thought that this was so well stated. So I wanted to share it with you. The following is from the summary, and it brings a powerful wrap-up to our month's journey into vulnerability. I know that for myself, just becoming a whole practitioner and the whole journey has been a venture into vulnerability, and it has brought so much into my life, and that the reading goes like this. Vulnerability invites us into the powerful experience of living authentically and the collective possibility for transformation that happens as a result. Embracing, not avoiding, vulnerability becomes a catalyst for connection, expansion, and evolution, which we could really use some more of that on this planet. It is through this that we begin to see the possibility for radical cultural shift, one that prioritizes authenticity, connection, and belonging, collectively living out loud. My favorite thing. And I'll close with a quote. It is very hard to have ideas, although it does get easier as you do it. It is very hard to put yourself out there, and that gets easier too. I can speak from experience. And it is very hard to be vulnerable, and that gets easier too. But those people who do that are the dreamers, the thinkers, the creators. They are the magic people of the world. And that is from Amy Potter from Yes, Please. So let us take that into prayer. So close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And let's just all take a nice, deep, unifying breath. Centering in this divine energy that has been so lovingly and joyfully created here today. I'm just so grateful for these moments of pause, these moments to remember, to recognize, as my beautiful teacher, Reverend Bernard Beckwith, likes to say. To recognize that we are one with the one, for there is only one thing living, breathing, and having its being as itself in and as through all things, everything that can be seen in the visible, and all the potentialities and possibilities of the invisible, knowing it is full with God. And so it is from that place, that space of knowingness, that I know that I am one with this divine field of energy. And as I know this for myself, I know this for each one here, that we are one in the possibilities and the potentialities. So I am just knowing that this month of vulnerability has ever changed us to step out, to live out loud, to be more authentic, to be our true selves, our true natures, our God natures. So I'm just so grateful and thankful for this beautiful Sunday celebration, knowing that it continues to unfold perfectly as Reverend Chris comes forth with a divine message, being that vulnerable, open conduit and channel for Spirit to speak. We are so blessed, each and every one of us, and a blessing, as I know the transformation that happens here ripples out into the world, and the world is truly a better place for us coming together each and every day. So I give great thanks as I release this word unto that law, living, loving law of fulfillment that always says yes. So I know it is already done in the heart and mind of God. And together we can anchor this by saying, and so it is. Amen, amen. So it is my pleasure to also take this moment to bring to mind, in our moment of silence, standing in the light together for any situation, any person, any place, anything that we want to hold in this field together, to bring it into the light as we bless it. And thank you. Amen, amen, amen. And now it is my good pleasure to welcome our amazing, I guess you're not new anymore. It's been, I was counting today, it's been 4 months. So please welcome Reverend Chris Leah.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Cassie. All right, well, good morning, everybody. It's, again, I just can't express enough how amazing it is to be here and be in your presence every time. You know, I think I'm not going to say it this next time and every time. I can feel it. There's a tingly in the air, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful place and community to be a part of. And so I just have to say thank you every single time, I think. Okay, I want you all to brace yourself, because we are at the 4-month mark. And I thought this would be a great time to kind of spring clean and take in everything that we've taken in, reassess, look at it, and then compile it back into the essential, what we want to carry forward. So this week, for our global themes, for people that are unfamiliar, we are our Center for Spiritual Living, and we're part of a larger organization that has, it's about 400 different teaching chapters, centers, and focus ministries all over the globe. And so we follow a global theme so that we are all kind of concentrating on the same stuff all the time. And this year, it is living life out loud, as Brene Brown would call it, living wholeheartedly, which I referenced Brene Brown because this month has been vulnerability. So this week, we are looking at power and possibility. I like that symbol because it's a play on infinity as well as the Trinity nature of the universe, the Trinity nature of ourselves, mind, body, spirit. So the reason I say buckle up and hold on is because in this effort of spring cleaning, if this is your first time here, you're in luck because you're going to get the whole 4 months of what we've talked about right now today. So I need to start this so I can keep track of my time, because to put four months into 20 minutes, it's going to be a challenge. But I think I can do it. If you're all ready, are we ready to jump in? Okay. All right. So what we did, we started at the thing itself. This is what we did January 1st. And this is Ernest Holmes. He's the founder of this philosophy called the science of mind, which is a New Thought philosophy similar to unity. And Ernest Holmes is our hero because he drew from the early New Thought teachers that came before him and the early New Thought teachers that weren't called New Thought teachers that came thousands of years before him. So he really found this golden thread of truth through all these different philosophies, cultures, religions. And this quote, I'll read it for anybody that's unable to see it. It says, "There is one infinite mind which of necessity includes all that is, whether it be the intelligence in the man or the human being, the life in the animal, or the invisible presence which is God." That's the thing itself. So when we started in January, we looked at there is only one. You'll hear this in metaphysical circles frequently, or spiritual teachings. Everybody's like, we're all one. Come on, man, we're all one. And a lot of people that don't lean into their spirituality are like, come on, we're all one. Clearly we're not. And that's a hippie, airy-fairy kind of way of thinking. But literally, we are one. If you take the universe and we look at everything that exists and can step outside of it, there's only one. And we are part of that. So literally, we are one. And even if you subscribe to the multiverse, then step outside of that, to the multiverse, like it's infinite universes, infinite planes of consciousness, infinite timelines that every thought or consideration we take creates new ones. All of it, just look at it, it's one group of everything, one. And I call it God, Spirit. Some people call it Source, the Alpha, the Omega. It's all that is. And then we looked at, what it does and how it works. Well, how it works is it all begins in consciousness. So in the beginning, all there was the infinite consciousness. And it's a state of bliss. When we say heaven is a state of mind, that's what the core essence is. But that thing itself couldn't know that. It couldn't appreciate for what it is until it can see itself as a witness outside of itself. So I want you to picture this. One infinite mind that just says, I want to know myself. So I'm going to split myself in two complete whole selves so that I can see myself from the outside. That's the infinite mind exploring how to know itself. And then think about those two splitting again so that then, wait, I can see myself. Each one of those splits has 100% of the original thing in it. It's an exact duplicate. And now as it splits into 4, it gets to watch itself interact without actually being in that interaction. And then maybe one part of it says, I'm going to bring in a little bit of conflict and challenge and see how that goes into the mix. And again and again. And in this infinite ways, physical life was manifested. And it all began in the mind of that thing that wanted to know itself. And it begins with just the Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was good. God said, let there be light, and there was light. So everything that exists in this physical universe is the natural outpicturing of that thing itself in order to know itself. And each and every one of us, and each and every atom and subatomic particle of everything that is all that physical manifestation of the thing itself. Are we on the same page? Is that making sense? Okay, good. So each and every one of us, while like the plants have consciousness and life, and so does the atoms inside, the particles of this podium, human beings have evolved to a place where we are starting to understand our mind and where consciousness plays into that. And so what this philosophy is that we have the same exact consciousness. We are the ocean in a drop. Everything that we are, 100% of our own individual being, is that spiritual essence of all that is. And we have that same co-creative power. So everything that we do, everything that we create in our lives begins with thoughts in our head. And in that same way that the universe creates, we do too. So then the last part of that first month is how we can use this. How can we use this knowledge? Well, the way that we use it is by becoming intentional with our minds. You've maybe heard of the law of attraction, that we are creating our reality all the time. And again, a lot of people that are maybe skeptical or, and hear that, like we are creating our reality, they're like, yeah, but not like mentally. But really, mentally, it starts right here. And the way that it shows up is partially our subconscious mind. What we program into our subconscious mind, or what's been programmed for us that was out of our control, is constantly attracting things to us by what is the predominance of our beliefs. And so if I believe that human beings are rude and always trying to get something out of me, if I believe that, the world is going to reflect that to me perfectly where I go. And part of the reason why, and here's a scientific reason how it happens, is the reticular activating system. I won't go deep into that, but it's a psychological process that our mind filters millions of bits of data to show us what we tell our subconscious mind is important. So my general predominant beliefs is what my subconscious mind finds evidence to support. So if I believe that people are going to be rude to me today, when I go out into the world, anytime there's an opportunity or somebody being rude, my mind, that RAS, grabs onto that and says, look, and it brings it to my attention. And I'm like, see, rude people, I knew it. They're everywhere. And another, like the counterpart to that, that's part of the way of how it works, but also, if that's my predominant belief, then when I go out into the world, I go out kind of like this. I'm protecting myself from all these rude people, and consciously or unconsciously, I show up in a way that puts off an energy that says, I don't trust you. I think you're going to be rude to me. And so it's almost like a preemptive rudeness. And even if you're like, I'm going to go out there today with the best smile on my face and nobody's going to be rude to me. If your predominant beliefs don't agree that still believe you're going to be inundated with rudeness out there, even if you're really trying, your subconscious mind is going to overpower that, and you're still going to carry that energy. And it's almost telling people on some level, consciously or unconsciously, to be rude to you. You put off just little things you say, little eye glimpses. Again, just that idea of constriction sends energy. So that's how we can start to use it, which leaned us into February, which I had to bring back this quote because I came across this quote. I was in love with it. Ignorance killed the cat. It was ignorance that killed it. It wasn't curiosity. And February, so now that curiosity that I'm talking about, when everything begins in mind, what's in your mind? What are you thinking about? What is your ideal life? When we talk about living life out loud, what does that mean to you? Wholehearted living. If you could be your highest and best and most expressive self, what does that look like? And I think for a lot of people, we have the surface level kind of idea of what that is, but we're going mostly on what society tells us we have to do. We play it safe. And so a lot of people don't ever take the time to go into that curiosity and just say, what is mine to express? What is mine to be in the world? So this is where, in February, we leaned into this idea of curiosity, becoming curious. I encouraged people to let yourself be bored, daydream, and imagine. Sit in contemplation. Step away from your phone for 15 minutes a day to just sit and say, what is possible? What within me would like to be expressed? And just sit and let that mind run and see what comes up. And then, when you start to get the glimpses, what do you want to be? What would the world that works for everyone look like? That's one of the things we say in Centers for Spiritual Living. We're creating a world that works for everyone. But have we stopped to imagine and visualize what that looks like? Ask your mind and give your mind time to respond, because we are sharing that one consciousness. And we can get stuck in our surface level of consciousness. We're like, what would that world look like? And we might just right away start creating answers. But take time to step back from that and just allow the answers to come up without forcing them, and seeing how would I show up in the world if I was being my highest and best? If I was living in that world that works for everyone, what would I do different? How would I show up? And just taking time. This is one of our spiritual practices. Just taking time to ask ourselves that, to become curious about what's possible. And then as we start to do that, then we move into March, which is cultivating authenticity. So when you start to really know what your heart is saying, is asking and wanting to express in this world, now it's time to be bold and step up and be that. Show up as that. I use that be the change, which is usually accredited to Mahatma Gandhi. Be the change you wish to see in the world. But when you start to get clear on that picture and taking time to be curious, well, when you start to get the idea of what it is that wants to come through you, it takes courage. But step up and be that. When you go out in the world, how would I show up if I was being that? And dropping that mask, dropping the ways that we show up in order to be comfortable, to stay in place. It takes courage. But that's what we're being called to do, because living life out loud, if we want to live our highest selves, you can't do it like playing it safe. I'll be that self here at home. But when I go to work, when I go to my book club, when I go over here, I'm going to kind of just hold back a little bit, because I know when I am that self, sometimes it makes people around me uncomfortable. Or maybe somebody else will think I'm crazy, that I'm dreaming about a bigger essence for myself, that I'm crazy for leaning in. So it takes courage to do this, to cultivate that authenticity. And then finally we move into April, which is where we're at, vulnerability. I had to get a Brene Brown quote because it's the last week of vulnerability. For those of you who haven't been here, she's one of my heroes. It says, that's what life's about daring greatly, about being in the arena. Now that quote is wonderful. Where she gets it from was from Theodore Roosevelt, that he talked about. It's the people that are in the arena, that are putting their life on the line, that are putting themselves out there and open, that are daring greatly, because it's a risk. You are vulnerable when you're putting yourself out there. Vulnerability means that's, a vulner somewhere is wound or injury, and then ability is the ability to be wounded. That's what vulnerability means. Well, human beings, whether you like it or not, we are all vulnerable. Just to be alive means we are vulnerable to, physical risk, mental risk, emotional risk, all the time, always. And we try to avoid it in an effort to stay safe and protect ourselves. But even when you do everything you can to protect yourself from that vulnerability, stuff is still going to happen. You're going to get hurt regardless. So why not step into your authentic self, being bold, being big, knowing, yes, you are going to get hurt. You are going to bump up against people. People are going to come and go. Jobs are going to be gained and lost. All these things are going to happen. But when you're doing it from what's in your heart, the reward for those times that those vulnerabilities don't play out in injury, the reward is so much greater than the very small reward of just getting through life, of just playing it safe and avoiding that risk. So vulnerability is required throughout all 4 months of this in order to open up to the idea that you are an infinite piece of God. And it's not that like all these pieces come together to form God. No, it's all God contained in each and every one of your consciousnesses. In each and every cell of your body is 100% of that same essence. And so for a lot of people, this might challenge beliefs that you were raised with. It might make you feel blasphemous, that you are somehow, like I'm not worthy to call myself that thing, God. I'm not worthy to call that. But you are. And I'm hoping and guessing that somewhere inside of you, there is just too much magic, or what appears to be magic, happening out in that world. Those little moments when you get the goosebumps, when something resonates with you. That's that spark of life within you that is saying, notice me, notice you, notice this. And you can feel it when we take time, like we're talking about in February, of curiosity, to be still and just ask. Because when you knock on that door, knock and the door shall be opened unto you. If you genuinely want to connect to that higher thing that I call God, but you can call it whatever you want because it doesn't care, because it is just everything that is. But if you genuinely want to have an experience of that thing and you put that out there, it will let you know. You'll get glimpses, or maybe you'll have a massive flash all at once, which happens to some people, but it wants you to seek it and it wants to show itself to you. So that takes vulnerability, because it can rock your entire foundation of what you define as reality, is what you define as yourself. And it's worth it. And it also takes vulnerability, when we lean into that authenticity, because people might not resonate with you anymore. You might lose some relationships. You might lose a job. Whatever it is. But all the people that I've studied, all the books I've read about this, people that I've met who have said, done a 180-degree turn in their life and said, no more. I'm not playing small like that anymore. People that I've met and studied their works, none of them. Lots of them have had major upheavals in their lives after they started showing up authentically. But I haven't yet to find one, and I'm sure there probably are some that wish they'd never gone down that path, but I've yet to find a single person that said, I wish I didn't start to follow my heart, because then I lost this person. I've never met anybody. We get through those things that we get through. And here's the thing, don't avoid that vulnerability, because we are going to go through those things anyway, so let's do it daring greatly, putting ourselves out there. So this is it. This is the whole 4 months in a nutshell. You are God. Every single part of you, the good, the bad, the ugly, it's all the infinite nature of God contained in you, the ocean in a drop. So I want you to, if you're on board with this and it resonates with you, play with this week. Just open up to what's within you and what wants to come up, knowing that you are the infinite. And then become curious. Start to let your daydreams, your mind go, and just say, what does my life want to embrace with me? what is coming, wants to be coming through me and expressed as me. And lean into that curiosity. And then make that intention to show up like that as often as you can. And I also want to remind you that we will slip from time again. You won't show up authentically like that every time. You will show up sometimes and your mind will say, I should say something about that. And in that minute, you're going to miss that opportunity. And I don't want you to beat yourself up when we miss that. Remember, it's a practice. We call it a spiritual practice because it takes trial and efforts and repetition. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But as best you can, remember, when you become and imagine what's possible and you start to want to be that, remember to show up everywhere you go, best you can as that. And then we're going to be afraid. It can be frightening. One of these things about this teaching is it's a very simple teaching. The principles are very simple. But it is not easy. And that's something that we repeat a lot. It takes a lot to live wholeheartedly, to put yourself out there. So be afraid, but do it anyway. So that being said, 20 minutes and 43 seconds. Good Lord. Whew. That's hard for me because I like to talk a lot. But with that, let's take it in anchor inside, in our own consciousness. I just invite you, however you like, to just be still for a moment, recognizing, yes, there is a light, and it is shining so brightly, and it is there at the core of your being. So I invite each and every one of us to acknowledge that there is only one thing in this entire universe, and we are it. Each and every one of us are an emanation, a complete whole of that one thing. And there is nothing lacking, nothing that can be added on. Only things that can increase our experience of our co-creative nature with this entire universe. And I affirm and avow that as that, we have creative power. So as we make this shift within ourselves, as we start to live from our wholehearted space, we create shifts in our lives. And that makes it possible to imagine and visualize shifts in the world. And the more that we show up more authentically, one day at a time, that shift happens on a global level. And that is happening right now all around us. That there are millions of people on this planet who are waking up to their deeper nature, who have been awakened, who have been awaking for thousands of years, but I know that this is right now the most prevalent, predominant thing in our consciousness is that we are infinite beings of light, and that we are creating a shift on this planet right now through each and every thought, each and every action that we take. I affirm and avow, too, that Spirit has us. So as we embrace that vulnerability, in those tough times where we may fail, Spirit has us, each and every one of us. Spirit gets us through as it always has. So I know that Spirit is speaking more clearly and more loudly to each and every individual that hears these words. Wherever we are, Spirit is moving through each and every one of us as us. And I am so very grateful for that. So may we all go forward, walking a little more tall, being in our space, knowing that the infinite power that has created the cosmos is within us, creating our entire existence and experience of that. And that it is great, grand, and glorious when we lean into that and embrace it. So in deepest gratitude for each and every person on their spiritual path or on any path, knowing that it is all just returning us back to where we come from, which is that thing itself, I just say thank you. I say thank you for the law that takes our words and makes it so, and then I let these words go into that infinite mind of all creation, knowing that as we do, it is already done in that mind, and then it gets to be our experience and joy to let it manifest all around us, and it is truly a joy to behold. And if you're in agreement with me on this, I invite you to affirm it by saying, and so it is. So it is. So thank you. Thank you. Okay. So one thing that we've talked about, we would like to start kind of introducing from time to time testimonials, how this teaching, this philosophy has affected people in their lives and created positive change. And when I recently got done teaching the Essential Ernest Holmes class, we got to hear everybody's final project, and the stories that I heard from the individuals were wonderful. And that's when I decided, like, okay, let's put this forward, start putting this call. So the call is, if your life has shifted in ways by applying one of these teachings, we want to start to hear from you. So reach out to me. My email is revchris@cslcapecoral.org. Reach out to me, let me know your story, and when it ties in with the theme, there'll be certain times when, like, okay, this is the one that needs a testimonial. We'll be pulling those in from time to time, and I knew one of the best stories, and I wish we had time to hear all the stories that he would be willing to share, but I know we don't. But before Mark Lukens leaves, Dr. Mark Lukens, I want to invite him to be our first testimonial on my watch. So this is Mark Lukens. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Chris, so much. Thank you for that class that we had. And I in that class, I kind of wrote about a spiritual revelation I had. I want to speak a little bit about my spiritual journey. In 2015, I retired from the Army. I was 29 years in the Army, retired as a high-ranking officer, as a colonel. And it was everything to me. It really, that organization committed to me when no one else would. And I love the Army so much. But I left in 2015, and I was going through a horrible divorce at the time. And when I left, I started to embrace the darkness. I really did. And I didn't really have a spiritual foundation, not at all. And I didn't realize that. I thought I kicked ass in everything I did. But I didn't really have this spiritual foundation. And so I embraced the darkness for 3 years, essentially. I started drinking every day. I was just in a bad way, suicidal. And so this lasted for 3 years, and I was unmoored completely. And then on winter solstice, 2018, I made contact with a person. She's sitting right there. And we went on a couple dates. You know, I didn't know if it was going to work or not. And I didn't know, and we didn't talk about spirituality at all. Because I was probably I was an atheist at the time. But anyways, I went on a business trip to Italy. So I was doing cyber wargaming at the time. I went over to Naples. I ended up, on the way back, I said, I'm going to go to the Vatican. So I went to the Vatican. I grew up Catholic. My mom's very Catholic. I went to the Vatican, and I thought, well, maybe I can get some spirituality here. But it was kind of the exact opposite. I didn't get the vibe at all. In fact, I was invited into a mass. It was early Sunday morning, right at dawn is when I went to the Vatican. And I was invited into a mass by a priest, and that's like an honor to go to a mass in the Vatican. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. It was just something was not aligned right there. Well, anyways, I fly home that evening from Rome to New York. I'm flying over the Atlantic Ocean. And I guess we're going through a polar vortex, but it was really an interesting flight. It was dark, as a transatlantic flight was. But the plane was filled with priests, nuns, and imams, because I guess there was just a conference in Rome the same week I was there. Anyway, so this plane is filled with holy people. I'm sitting there, it's kind of dark, and all of a sudden I start seeing I have a spiritual revelation. Time stops, I see my breath, and I just know something has fundamentally changed in my life. And I said I knew nothing about science of mind at the time, zero. And but it was amazing. I got back, and 2 weeks later, Teresa took me to a CSL Metro up in Virginia. I was working in D.C. at the time. And I said, this is it. This is exactly it. For me, it was it. And that consciousness that I felt, that higher level of consciousness, and like Chris said, it was where the veil is thin. Well, at 40,000 feet, I guess the veil was very thin. And I made this connection, and since that time, my life has been unbelievable. I ended up marrying Teresa. I've manifested a new job with higher pay up in Virginia. And then we came down here on our honeymoon because COVID was going on at the time. So we went to Marco Island, and because we couldn't go overseas, and said, we're going to live here in Southwest Florida. And we did. A month later, we bought a house. And we came out, we manifested this. We came down here. And I needed work. I got this job up in Tampa. And on the way down, they called me up, hey, you want to work? I mean, just stuff like that just happens over and over and over to us. And we manifest it. And then early this year, Teresa said, I want to go to the mountains. So I put in for a job. I didn't even think about it twice. They gave me a call. And the next day they said, we want you in Colorado to work with Space Force. So that's where I'm going. I'm going to go work with Space Force. We're not going anywhere. We're going to keep our house in Cape Coral. And we're eventually, hopefully, this will probably be my final tour for the government, working with Space Force. We'll keep our house here, and hopefully maybe we'll be snowbirds with a off-grid cabin out west and be back here. So we'll be gone for a couple years, but please hang around and wait for us. Okay? So we will be back. And just keep leaning your shoulder into it and manifesting it. And just like Reverend Chris said, it is all up here. And you will it to happen, it will happen. Just you've got to put enough power into it. And I'm just so blessed with Teresa, who's the master manifester. Oh my goodness. I've seen her, I've just been next to her, I can't believe it. And I'm so blessed with this new life and what has happened with this. And when we moved down here, we didn't know anything about this center. We came down to Cape Coral. Like I said, we kind of came down here on a whim. We didn't know this center even existed. And we moved to Cape Coral, and all of a sudden, hey, there's a CSL here. We show up with like, wow. Wow, and this community has been great. We really I want to thank everybody for all your support. And like I said, we're still family here. And just like family once in a while moves away, once in a while family gets in fights and stuff like that, we're still family here. And we will be back, okay? So don't forget us, and we'll be in contact. Thank you, Reverend Chris.
Talk about authenticity and vulnerability and courage and curiosity, all of it. Mark, thank you so much for being willing to share that with us. Yeah, let's give it up to him one more time. I mean, amazing individual. And I just can't say enough about this philosophy. So that being said, let's get down to the next parts where we invite our ushers forward. This is where we speak from our heart. We like to share our time, talents, and treasure to that thing that feeds us spiritually. And if this resonates with you, we encourage you to give what you can, what feels good from your heart, knowing that it is changing lives. So there's ways to give. The easiest way, in my opinion, is text to tithe. You just text a dollar amount to 239-320-3820. It'll give you the setup information. And then once you have that, every time you want to, anytime in the future to give again, you just text the dollar amount and it'll reply to you and say thank you. And you can contribute through our PayPal, which is paypal@cslcapecoral.org. A donate button on our website, cslcapecoral.org. The old-fashioned way, you can mail us a check. We really encourage, wherever you are, when you give to what you believe and feel in and living wholehearted about, it responds. And this thing grows within us as we give our energy, our time, our talents, and that treasure. So wherever you are, you can or mail a check to us, Center for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral, 406 Southeast 24th Avenue, Cape Coral, Florida, 33990. We have our wonderful greeters and ushers today, Phyllis and Lily, who will be sending around baskets, prayer requests as well. This is a great time to put those in. There's other options of where you can give them to us. All of it, it all works good, so thank you very much. We do have a affirmation that we like to say together, so just as we read out loud. Today, I know the activity of divine abundance is at work in my life and the life of this center. I give and receive generously as I live in the flow of bountiful good. Thank you. Big love. So we gratefully receive these gifts, knowing that Spirit takes them and multiplies them and distributes it in ways that create more good on this planet, experiencing greater love with the capital L, that infinite light that is. So we give thanks for each and every person who helps keep this mission going, expanding, and continuing for the next 100 years at this center. In deepest gratitude, we say, and so it is. So thank you. Thank you. Hi. Amen. All right. So now we have some announcements. Sit down. Hi.
Hey, Griffin, you want to come up and help me do the announcements? Huh? Okay, well, you'll be with me. Griffin's my buddy here. All right. So we have a lot of fun things coming up, and spring is it's such an awesome time. On our website, you can see events, but I'd also like to share some of these events. In the back, there's a table there, and there are sign-up sheets and information on things that we have going on. So please, as you're exiting here, stop at the table, and you can sign up for things. And yep. Oh, okay. All right. We're full of surprises.
All right. Surprise! So we are expanding our youth program, which is awesome. We had 5 kiddos today. It ranges from usually 2 to 5. And we are in need of helpers. We're in need of some people to come in there and serve with us. We'd like to have at least 2 people in there for every service. And we don't want to have to stop doing youth service because we don't have enough people or anything like that. And, you know, as people come and go, we need to, and then there's vacations that people need to take, you know, over the summer and stuff. So we definitely, I don't want to say we're in desperate need, but we definitely really could use some support in there. We have a great team of people that are doing this, and we would love for anybody that's interested to come speak with myself or Reverend Chris, and we'll kind of tell you what that might look like. And we would love it if you could commit to 1 Sunday a month. If you could do 1 Sunday a month, that would be really helpful. It doesn't have to be the same Sunday. If you want it to be, it can be, but we can work around your schedule. So that's all I'm going to say about that, but we could really use you. Thank you.
Thank you. And it is really fun. So I've been part of the youth program. It's that time to just be completely present. And sometimes as adults, we forget about being in this present moment, but the kids will bring that back. And it's super fun. So yes, and it isn't a huge time commitment. One Sunday a month. And if we have a bunch of people, that could be maybe even every 6 weeks or 2 months, depending on how many folks we have. Okay, so our beloved Pam is going to be offering a workshop. This is next Sunday. Are you going to come up and talk about it? All right. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, I said no last week, but it is coming up next Sunday, and I wanted to say we're going to be watching this DVD, and I've made a little booklet for us to start working about our shadow, and that's the theme for May. And Valerie Data started talking about shadow work about 15 years ago, and I poo-pooed her. And then about 10 years ago, I had a very serious health challenge, and I pulled out all the stops and spiritual practices that I knew, and this was one of them that I worked on. So I'd like to share that with you guys next Sunday. Thank you.
And that's going to be right after service, right, Pam? Yes. Okay. So maybe bring a snack or something. Bring a sandwich with you, and then we'll continue with that. Okay. All right. And we have Patty Carney is a Reiki practitioner in our center, and she does Reiki over Zoom. And the next session is May 2nd from 6:30 to 8. You can find out more about it online, but it's like an energy healing. Yeah. And the spring fling is coming up. Linda's gonna say a few words about that.
Yes, everybody get your dancing dresses and shoes out and your pants, I guess, for you guys. We don't, you can wear dresses too if you want though. So anyways, I wanted to put out there too that we have raffles for this. And if you have anything at home that you haven't used since Christmas, those little gift cards that everyone gives, we would love to have them donated for the raffle to, we're trying to have real beefy raffles this year. So like dinners out and plays and comedy club and all kinds of things is what we're aiming for. And a really good time is always had by all. So I invite every single one of you. I want to see you up here on this. We clear everything out and have a big dance floor in the middle, and the Big Love Band is doing a set. So, oh yeah, so please do join us. Thank you very much.
That's fun. That's great that you guys are playing too. And we do love to dance, and it will be an awesome time for sure. So, all righty. Okay. And more Spring Fling. Oh, we have tickets available. You can buy your tickets. Yeah, and it is good to buy them in advance if you can, if you know that you're going to be coming, because it helps with planning. Okay, you get a discount if you get them ahead of time. Perfect. All right, Beautification Day. So this is, we take care of our center, right? It's just like we take care of our homes. We take care of the center as a community, and our next Beautification Day is the 20th. That, I'm guessing, is a Saturday from 9 to 12. And just come, bring some work gloves. If you can't like lift or carry a lot of things, don't worry. You can boss people around. There will always be stuff for you to do. Sometimes we have projects inside here too, and so please come. It's also a great opportunity to get to know folks. So the more the merrier. Thank you. As I mentioned earlier too, after the service today, our practitioners are going to be standing up front, and they are available to pray with you. And so come and get your 1-minute miracle. All right, and with that, we are going to have a final sing out with the Big Love Band, and I hope you all have just a wonderful week. It was wonderful seeing you all here today, and bring this message with you. Be vulnerable this week. Be open to those messages from your greatest and highest good. All right.